midnight screams.
Story 1. Missing. I haven't seen my husband in weeks. His schedule has been horrible lately. He's been pulling 12 and 13-hour shifts. That's not including the time it takes him to drive to and from his job site, which is another hour and a half to 2 hours each way. By the time he gets home at night, I'm already in bed, and he's gone before the sun rises. His boss has a strict no cell phone policy, so he can't really call me during the day. I bought him a Bluetooth headset last Christmas so we could talk while he was driving, but it stopped working a month ago. I know it's not his fault, but I miss him. Sometimes I'll feel him climb into bed and wrap his arms around me, and I fall asleep knowing I'm safe in his arms. He's gone when I wake up, but he always leaves the porch light on, so I know he was home. This morning I heard him getting ready for work. I woke up to find him standing over me, gently brushing stray hairs off my forehead. The lights were off, so all I could see was his silhouette. He leaned over and kissed me on the temple. "I love you," I said. He responded with another kiss on my neck. "Soon," he whispered. I knew what he meant. Soon his work schedule would be back to normal. Then we could spend real time together again. Then he was gone, and I quickly fell asleep. When I woke up, I had a text from him. It read, "Good morning, beautiful. Can't wait for tonight." I grinned at it. He had always been so sweet. I sent a heart back to him and started to get ready for work. The day passed normally. I received a few texts from my husband. Most said the sad thing. "I'm excited for tonight." I was getting excited too. Maybe he was getting off early and we could actually have dinner together. I made it through the day and headed home, a grin on my face. I was making dinner when I heard a knock at the door. I figured it was probably a solicitor or something, so I opened it to tell them I'm not interested. Instead of a salesman or a Girl Scout, I came face to face with a tall, stern-looking police officer. "Good evening, ma'am. Are you Mrs. Norrington?" "Yes. How can I help you, officer?" He flashed his badge at me. "I'm Officer Marcus. May I come in? It's about your husband." My heart began to beat faster, thumping against my ribs. "My husband? Of course, come in." I stepped aside and he took off his hat as he entered. "Is there a problem? Is there somewhere we can sit?" I ushered him into the living room. The TV was still on, showing a rerun of Modern Family. I switched it off and sat down in one of the armchairs. Officer Marcus sat across from me. "I'm sorry to be the one to tell you this," he started, as I struggled to breathe. "We found your husband's car abandoned on the side of Highway 95. My hand, shaking violently, fluttered up to cover my mouth. Highway 95 was the one my husband took to work every day. He wasn't inside?" I asked, my voice muffled against my hand. "No, ma'am. We found him lying about a quarter of a mile away. His keys, wallet, and cell phone were missing. I'm very sorry, but he's dead." Everything went dark, and I heard myself talking as if from far away. "What? No. How?" "We're not sure yet," Officer Marcus said. "He's being transported to the coroner now." "But ma'am, why is it you never reported him missing?" "Missing? Why would I? I saw him just this morning, barely 12 hours ago." What he said next made my blood run cold. "I'm still trying to process the information. It doesn't make any sense." "Ma'am," he said, in a tone usually reserved for elderly relatives, "your husband has been dead for 3 weeks." Story 2. I work in an IT department and found this email in the drafts folder of a missing employee. Hey love, I know it's late. Actually, I'm not sure when I get this email. I'm sorry I haven't called you back yet. I've been busy. I wish I had listened when you told me to come home earlier. I'm writing this now because I don't know what else to do. I need to explain what happened. I want to write down every detail I can remember. I need to tell you the truth because I think I'm trapped here. I'm not sure if I will get to see you again. As I'm sure you gathered, I stayed late at the office again, and yes, I know, I'm an idiot. You were right. When you called earlier, I could hear it in your voice, how worried you were, but I brushed it off. I laughed at your bad feeling because it sounded like superstition, and I didn't want to hear it. I had work to finish. My deadlines, my clients. I wasn't going to let a feeling pull me away. Stupid. So stupid. I stayed until about midnight. When I finally decided to leave, I grabbed my phone, only to realize it was dead. Completely. It had been plugged in all day, but apparently the outlet just wasn't working. Of course, I didn't think much of it at the time. Figured I'd just charge it in the car on the way home. I wasn't in a hurry. Big mistake. I took the stairs instead of the elevator, thinking it would be a nice change to get a bit of exercise. 6 flights down, the building was quiet, almost eerily so. There was this oppressive silence as I passed each floor. No distant chatter, no sound of typing, just the dull hum of the building, the kind that starts to make your ears ring if you listen too long. And the air was heavy, like it was pressing down on me. I felt a little off, but I chalked it up to being tired. When I reached the lobby, it was empty. No sign of DeMarcus, the security guy. You know how he usually makes his rounds? Well, I figured he was doing that. Still, it felt strange not to see him at his desk. The place felt too big, too vacant. The kind of emptiness that makes you feel exposed, like something's watching from the shadows. I didn't stay long. I headed to the parking garage. You know how dim that place is, right? Tonight, it felt even worse. Most of the lights were out, and the ones still working flickered like they were dying. My car was parked alone, under the one working light, a flickering, buzzing light. I should have known something was off when I felt that heaviness again. Like the garage was breathing, watching. I thought I was just being paranoid. I got in the car, but when I turned the key, it wouldn't start. Nothing, not even a click. My phone was still dead, and all I could hear was the faint echo of something, scraping, or maybe shuffling, coming from deep in the garage. I tried not to think about it. I thought it was a cat or something, but it didn't sound right. I'm getting goosebumps just writing this. I went back inside to ask DeMarcus for help. 20 minutes passed, and he never came back. It was so quiet, I could hear my own breathing. The only sound was the hum of those awful fluorescent lights buzzing overhead like they were the only things keeping the dark at bay. Something didn't feel right. DeMarcus never leaves the lobby unattended that long. That's when I saw the flyer for a taxi service pinned to the wall behind his desk. I figured it was my best bet. I used the landline to call them and waited outside for the cab. It was cold, but more than that, it was quiet. Too quiet. You know how there's always some noise, even late at night? A distant car, maybe someone walking by? But there was nothing. Just me, standing there, feeling, watched. Then I heard it again, the scraping noise. Louder this time. It felt closer, and it was coming from the direction of the garage. I tried to ignore it, but I couldn't shake the feeling that something was there, watching, waiting. The cab took forever, way longer than it should have. I was about to go back inside when headlights blinded me. I almost cried with relief. I jumped in, eager to just get home and put this night behind me. The driver was incredibly normal. We talked a bit, made small talk. It felt calming, safe. We hit a red light, and I don't know why, but I felt the need to confess. I told him about the real reason I stayed out late tonight, about our fight last night, how I didn't want to come home because I was still mad, because we'd said things we didn't mean. I wanted to be petty tonight. I wanted my absence to hurt you. The driver just listened. He gave me some advice, said relationships are hard work, said I should make amends. For a moment, it felt like everything was going to be okay. I felt lighter, like I was on my way back to you, and everything would be fine. But then the light turned green, and he didn't move. I pointed it out. "Hey, the light's green." He didn't respond. I nudged him, thinking maybe he didn't hear me. Still nothing. "Hey, buddy, the light," I said louder. I reached out to shake him, but when I touched his arm, it felt wrong, stiff. But he was still breathing. I could see it, shallow and slow, his chest barely rising and falling. But he didn't react to me at all. He was just frozen, staring straight ahead, hands on the wheel, blinking occasionally. Panic set in. I jumped out of the car, looked around for help, but the streets were empty. Everything was closed, no one around. No traffic, no pedestrians. Just me, this unmoving cab, and the quiet. Too quiet. It was like the world had emptied out, like I was the only one left. I went back to the car, but the driver, he was gone. Just gone. The seat was empty. I tried telling myself that maybe he had gotten out, maybe he had gone for help, but deep down, I didn't believe it. I was too scared to believe it. I got in the driver's seat, thinking I could make my way home myself. I started driving, hoping to find my way back, but I wasn't familiar with the way the cab driver had been taking me. I just kept trying to head east, but the streets kept forcing me to make unexpected turns. I drove for at least 30 minutes and then I found myself on the street of my office building. Something inside me screamed that this wasn't possible. I should have been miles away from it, even if I hadn't been close to home either. But I still clung to hope that the bad feeling was all in my head. I thought of this as an opportunity. Now I could head home the way I was familiar with. I pushed the accelerator to the floor and tried to race by the office, but something went wrong. The taxi made some horrible, metal-rending noises and slowed. It stalled completely, right there, in front of the building, the same spot where I started. I got out. The street was empty, but the feeling that something was watching me was overwhelming now, like it was right behind me, breathing down my neck. I ran back inside. The lobby was still empty, but the lights, they were flickering, flashing. And I swear to you, in the dark moments, I could see DeMarcus, or something that looked like him, sitting in the chair, twisted, like his body had been broken in ways that weren't possible. But when the lights flickered back on, the chair was empty. I didn't look back. I ran for the elevator. I pushed the button and waited. I could see the elevator light was on the 10th floor due to the light-up display above the elevator doors. I stood there, awkwardly. Then, I heard the scraping sounds again, still coming from outside the building. I stared at the lit-up 10 and tried to will the number to change. To my delight, it did, quickly changing to 9 and then 8. But there it remained. I heard the lobby doors open. Instinctively, I turned back, certain that the sound was the result of DeMarcus returning from a patrol. But then, I heard the scraping. It was much louder. It was inside the lobby. That horrible noise echoed across the large room. I turned and sought out the light-up display, hoping to see progress. There was some. It now read 6, but I could heard something new behind me, skittering, clicking on the floor. The scraping sound grew closer, too, so I abandoned the elevator and rushed into the stairwell. I took the stairs 2 at a time, but no matter how far I went, I never passed any doors. I could hear the first floor doors open and something skitter in. The scraping sound accompanied it. I thought the scraping was something being dragged, and my imagination thought of a giant centipede with a bloated body that scraped along. Either way, I tried to focus on the stairs in front of me. The last thing I wanted to do was trip and fall. Something told me that I wouldn't be able to get up again. Yet, the stairs seemed endless, spiraling up and up, the thing behind me getting closer with every step. Finally, I reached the 6th floor. I bolted to my office, entered the side entrance, and slammed the door behind me. I checked 4 times that it was locked, and now I'm waiting here. I've tried everything. The outlets don't work. My phone won't charge. The computers are on but have no internet. At least, that thing in the stairwell never seemed to emerge. At least, I don't think it did. Shortly after I started to settle in here for the night, I heard our front lobby doorbell ring. The echo of the bell reverberated through the hollow office hallways, sharp and unexpected. I ran to the door, hoping that it was someone coming into the office early. Something told me that if I just found one other person, I'd wake from this nightmare. Everything would return to normal. But I hesitated when I reached the lobby. We had thick curtains hanging by the entrance. To see who was ringing the bell, I'd have to get close to the door and pull back the curtain. The bell rang again and again, like the person on the other side was getting impatient. The risk was worth the reward, though. I needed to see a familiar face. I tugged the curtain aside. There, just inches away, was a face. Pale, expressionless, pressed close against the glass. Too close. The man's dead, glassy eyes locked with me, staring through me, unblinking. The stranger's mouth was stretched in a faint, unnatural smile, too wide and too still. He stood unnervingly still, as though he had been waiting there for me all along. He otherwise looked like he could have worked here. He looked like a stereotypical businessman, complete with a brown suitcase in one hand. But then the bell rang again. It wasn't coming from the door. It came whenever the stranger, still unblinking, opened his mouth. In a panic, I returned the curtain and retreated to my cubicle in the back of the office. When I could calm down, my only plan was to try and sleep, and hope the world would turn back to normal in the morning. But the lights, they won't turn off. No matter what I do, they stay on, buzzing and flickering, just like the parking garage lights. And I can still hear that thing. It's outside the door, scratching, waiting. I tried to sleep under my desk, but every time I closed my eyes, I could feel it. Something watching, getting closer. Keeping my eyes closed was impossible. And yet, I kept feeling like the next time I opened them, that stranger's face would be there, right next to mine. But that's not what happened. Instead, the last time I opened my eyes, I got a different surprise. There was a phone, a landline, sitting on the floor in front of me. It definitely wasn't here before, and now it's ringing. It's been ringing for a while. I unplugged it, but it won't stop. I don't know what to do. I'm scared, Susan. I'm sorry. I should have listened to you. I shouldn't have stayed late. I wish I could just come home, but I don't think I'm getting out of here. I'm going to answer the phone. I know I shouldn't, but I don't have a choice. That thing outside the door is not leaving. I can hear it moving from our front door to the back, and it keeps trying the handles. But the worst part? None of the clocks have moved. It's been midnight for hours now. I really don't think this night is ever going to end. I just want you to know I love you. I'm sorry I wasn't there, but I never stopped loving you. If I don't come home, please remember that. Love you always. Fred again. This email was found in Fred Settler's drafts folder. Fred has not been seen since the night of October 16. If anyone has any information regarding his whereabouts, please contact the authorities or his wife, Susan Settler. Story 3. These are the last texts my brother sent me before he went missing. I had been napping the entire day when my phone began to chirp with text notifications. They were from my older brother, Tom. His texts are in italics, and mine are in bold. Were you at hello? Hey, where are you? I sat up and texted him back, laying on the couch, seriously. Were you at I'm in the living room? Where are you? Nice try, asshole. I'm in the living room. Seriously, get home whenever you can. Something is weird. I turned around on the couch and looked around. I wasn't sure what he was playing at. I figured I'd go along with the ruse just out of the fact I was bored as shit. What's weird? It's quiet, like freaky quiet. And where is Jasper? I look over at the recliner and see our dachshund, Jasper, fast asleep. Are you trying to scare me? Jasper's sitting on recliner. What the fuck are you talking about? I'm sitting in the recliner right now. It was at this point I finally got freaked out. Well done, bro. Your seemingly lame-ass prank got to me. Just stop already. I'm on the couch looking at the chair. Where are you really? You at Emily's? I was. I left her place about an hour ago. This nasty rainstorm made the drive take forever. I looked. Out the window, the sun was shining brightly. What rainstorm? The one that's going on outside. It's like Noah's Ark shit out there, man. How you not seeing it? I finally got bored enough with his prank and put my phone down. My phone continued to chirp with notifications. God, he was desperate. I ignored his texts for a good 30 minutes. Until finally I picked my phone back up. What the hell? My phone won't charge. I've tried every outlet in the house. Nothing will turn on. Did the power go out? What the hell is that noise? It's like grinding metal. Hey, seriously, come home. I'm freaking the fuck out. The rain will not stop. I can barely see outside. I keep getting a dial tone every time I call you, fuck. My battery is down to 5% and it won't take a charge. The house phone is down too. Please, come home." "Seriously? That noise is getting louder. Please tell me you're doing it." I texted Mom and Dad. They aren't answering me. They must be at the movies still. "Okay? You win?" I'm terrified. "You win, you win, you win. Now get home, please. Chris, fucking text me back." These were the last texts I ever got from my brother. We filed a missing persons report the next day. The last person to see him was his girlfriend, Emily. She said Tom was acting normal and nothing was unusual that day. A security camera at a gas station a few miles away caught him heading north towards our house, but we could never find his car. I've tried texting him, but no texts ever come back. My mom and dad got texts from him too. They won't show me them. I don't know why. Maybe I'll check. Story 4. My brother returned after going missing for 4 years. If he really came back, I'm in huge danger. 4 years ago, my older brother went missing. There was nothing to prompt it. At 24, he was a good guy. He got top marks in school and uni, stayed clean, was very well built, and had only one girlfriend who he was still dating up until the time he went missing. I say good because he was horrible to me, and being a pathological liar and a master at manipulation, he got away with practically torturing me for years. He was 10 years older than me, and it never stopped. I got seriously injured from him up until the day he went missing. He always told me he hated me and enjoyed every bit of pain he put me through. I tried telling people when I was younger, but everyone believed him. Never me. Eventually, I stopped trying. The day he went missing was the greatest and most satisfying day I ever lived. My brother returned after going missing for 4 years. If he really came back, I'm in huge danger. His car was still parked in the driveway. His wallet and phone were on his desk, and his keys in the bowl by the entrance. Police had very little to go off of. It was like he simply vanished. After a year or so, everyone but my mom gave up on the search for him, figuring him to be dead. She, like any good mother, remained hopeful. Everyone else knew better. I knew better. He showed up early in the morning, dropped off by a mysterious black sedan with tinted windows in front of the house, according to our CTV. We couldn't catch the license plate and had no idea where the car came from or where it went. My brother came out in the same clothes he went missing in, obviously well-nourished and with his clothes clean, save for an old blackened stain on his chest, which people assumed was from the chili he ate the morning he went missing, and dirt on his shoes. The huge mystery came when he knew absolutely nothing. His memory cut the day he went missing and resumed the second he stepped out of the cab of the car. He thought he was still 24, and honestly, he could have been. A time skip was not one of the more outlandish theories the town had, considering everyone seemed to nod in agreement to aliens. Of course, his room was the same. My mom made sure no one touched it when he left for uni, and when he came back and then went missing, she did the same thing. She was so convinced that he would return that she allowed no one to move anything. She was devastated and heartbroken, so my dad and I just went along with it. The first night he came back, he spent it in the house. My brother returned after going missing for 4 years. If he really came back, I'm in huge danger. I've always had my fun with you, but never got to finish the job, you little shit. I woke up suddenly in the middle of the night to him standing at the foot of my bed. He was looking down at me with a huge grin on his face. Literally, it was a huge grin, curling way too unnaturally and twice as large as a normal mouth, as if the corners were cut open with a razor. My lamp was knocked over by my door and was under him, leaving a light shining up towards him, creating shadows going upward on his face, leaving black areas between his eyebrows and cheekbones for both eyes. The eyes, although they were in void, the eyes were still visible somehow. It was as if they were emitting a soft light underneath the surface. They were glassy and glazed over, completely lacking blood and life. He was still wearing the same shirt and pants he went missing in, and the stain on his shirt looked menacing in the light. It looked oozing, pulsing, crawling, as if filled with worms and maggots. His hands and arms were at his sides, swayingly, gently with rage. In his right hand was a knife that looked sickly familiar. I knew that knife all too well. He moved his arm to hold the knife above his head. He lunged toward me from the end of the bed, before I could form any words or sights for help in my mouth. And just as the knife was about to plunge into my chest, I woke up. I jolted in my bed, sitting upright, blood pumping with icy cold liquid coming from a heart frozen in terror. I felt cold and hot at the same time, feeling nauseous and shaking everywhere. I began to feel bile forming in my throat, so I moved my feet to the side of my bed to go to the bathroom. That's when I noticed it. There was that knife laying on the floor, and the lamp at the foot of my bed. At this point, I run to the bathroom and to do my business. After I'm done, I'm still shaking, so I splash my face with cool water. It seems to do the trick for a little, so I head back to my bed. The door was closed, which was wrong since I left it open to go to the bathroom, using the light from my room to navigate the hall. I walk in to see him back in my room, this time sitting on my desk chair next to my bed, twirling the same knife on his fingertip. My brother returned after going missing for 4 years. If he really came back, I'm in huge danger. I stood there, still frozen, before the fight or flight response kicked in. I was going to kill you the night I went missing, he said, with that same unnatural grin on his face, with way too many teeth. But obviously, you knew that. Now, the response kicked in. I hightailed it out of there and slammed the door shut behind me to buy me some time, as I heard something inside the room shuffle to its feet. I bolted down the stairs to the front door, ready to grab my keys and spend the night anywhere else but where he was. As I put my hand in the bowl, I felt lifeless cold hand already there. "Looking for these, you little shit?" he asked, slyly. He was dangling the keys in front of me, and I was briefly left wondering, how the fuck did he get here before me? How the fuck is he even here? The thought took only a nanosecond before I ran for the back door, prepared to make the journey on foot. I pushed out of the door and started to run for the woods. Yeah, I know, that's a horror cliche, but it's what I did. I heard the door open behind me and knew he was close on my heels. I felt the familiar déjà vu feeling as I realized the events were almost exactly the same as the night he went missing. He chased me then too. He didn't have a knife then, though. He thought his fists would be enough. He was wrong. As soon as I stepped into the boundary of the woods where the fateful event occurred, I turned around to see that he wasn't chasing me anymore. Instead, the knife lay on the grass in a pool of blood right outside of the woods. My brother returned after going missing for 4 years. If he really came back, I'm in huge danger. Because that night, I had the knife, and I finished the job. Story 5. Empire's missing person that doesn't exist has just been found. I don't really know how to lay it out any simpler than that. I know it doesn't make any sense, but you have to listen to me. Everything has been going downhill ever since I saw the first poster. I had been riding my bike home from a friend's house when I noticed it. It was stapled haphazardly onto a telephone pole with an eerie black and white picture of a boy posted above the name, age, and description: Benjamin W. Cook age: 15 DOB. The 24th of September 2007. Ease: brown height, 5'9" weight, 155 hair, brown race. Caucasian. If found, please bring to XXXX Meadowlark Lane or call 911. Thank you. I thought it was a little odd that there was no number on there besides 911, just an address. Usually there would be a personal phone number, but I guess whoever put the poster up didn't have a phone. The address was actually a lot closer than I had thought, and I came up with the idea to bike to the house and check up on whoever put the poster up. I was curious and had nothing better to do. It was the first day of Thanksgiving break at my school, and I'd already spent the majority of the day with some friends. So what's the worst that could happen by going on a quick and spontaneous trip down the street? My parents weren't going to be home anytime soon either, since they were at a friend's wedding a few states over, so they couldn't tell me where to go and when to go to bed. I can't believe they had this much trust in me by myself. It was like a dream for me. It was a short ride to get there, only about a minute or two, which was in my favor, as it was getting a little dark outside. The house was surprisingly nice, but a little worn down. It had orange bricks. That's what really stuck out to me. Not really a brownish orange, more of a carrot orange, just very bright. The lawn looked as if the color had been sucked out, replaced with a dull, lifeless, pasty brown. Another thing that slightly stood out was the tall pine tree by the side of their house. My neighborhood wasn't really suburban, but it wasn't rural either. Every house had a good amount of space between each other, so trees weren't uncommon. I had just never seen one like it before. I kicked down the stand on my bike and made my way up to the front of the house. The pavement was faulty and riddled with cracks and anthills. I could have just left right there, but curiosity got the best of me. I wanted to know what happened to this kid. I got up to their porch and rang the half-broken, antiquated doorbell. The door opened not a second after I had rang the bell, and an old lady's head poked out from behind the door. I let out a quiet greeting. The lady just stared back at me and cleared her throat. I thought she was going to say something, but she didn't. Her skin was gross. I feel bad saying that, but it really was. It was disgusting. Little patches of dry skin were blotted all on her face, as well as big, ugly liver spots. Her hair looked as if it had been pulled out in several places. Those weren't the only thing off about her either. Her eyes were black, very black, like looking down a deep well and seeing nothing. I was just wondering, if you ever found your son, or grandson, or whoever Benjamin was. You? I said, stumbling over every word terribly. I stutter when talking, especially when I get nervous. Benjamin? Oh, you found him? The lady replied. No, I'm sorry. I hope you find him, though. Have a nice day, I muttered nervously, backing down off of her porch. Oh, please, look for him, please. I want him back. I want my Benjamin back. She opened the door and followed me, slowly walking down her steps. Please find him for me. Please find him. Please just find him. I ran to my bike, kicked up the stand, and rode home as fast as possible. I really felt bad for her. It seemed like she had dementia, or maybe something like schizophrenia. Your guess is as good as mine. When I got home, I ran up to my room and opened my laptop. Benjamin Cook, missing kid local area, is what I typed into the search bar, but weird enough, no results. I tried again, this time adding some other words. Benjamin Cook, missing 15-year-old local area. I tried a few more times before giving up. On the last try, I clicked on the images to see if I could find pictures of the kid on there. What I was met with was one of the strangest feelings I've ever felt. There were dozens of pictures of Benjamin, but each one looked incredibly fake. I don't know how to explain, but they just looked photoshopped or something. The lighting was off on some of them. In others, it looked as if someone had taken a stock photo and edited that boy's face onto them. I felt disgusted, and I sort of just zoned out. I didn't know what to think. I clicked on one of the photos and was taken to a Facebook account. It was fittingly named Ben Cook. The account was filled with pictures like this. The editing on all of them were just so off-putting. After a while of scrolling down, I went back up to the top where I noticed the latest post. It said it had been posted a day ago. It was a picture of Ben, with the weird old lady I saw earlier. She was standing, smiling in a dimly lit room. Ben was next to her. His face was yet again uncanny. It was sunken, and looked as if someone copied and pasted a smile over his mouth. I thought this could be a coping mechanism, making it seem like he's still here, but the caption read as follows: Benjamin, I dearly miss you. Please come home. Here is this picture of us happy together. When will you come back home? Class. From Grandma, I closed my laptop and got in bed. I put the covers up to my chin and just thought. I wondered what to do. About all of this, I asked myself if I should report this to the police, but I knew they wouldn't do anything about this. The most they could do is check up on her. I could tell them she threatened me, but she really hadn't. It was her house, and I was intruding. She had every right to chase me. Maybe they could take her in because she was mentally unwell, but then I'd feel bad. I fell asleep while trying to decide. As soon as I woke up, a horrible pain came to my head, and my t-shirt was covered with sweat. I changed my shirt and ran downstairs to grab something for my migraine. I'd taken some pills and finally started to feel better, so I decided to go outside to get some fresh air and to feel the sun on my skin. I stayed out for a good 20 minutes, resting on the rocking chair on my porch, before I noticed the paper on my front door. I approached it cautiously and could make out some small letters. All it said was, I saw your bike out front. Ben has been found. Thank you. I ripped it off my door and stared at it in awe. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. He had been found, apparently. I needed to go to her house again. I had to see if he was real. At the time, I didn't even think of the fact that she had known where I'd lived. I hopped on my bike and headed back to that old orange house. I had memorized the route to get there. which didn't take too long. After about 5 minutes, I could finally see the familiar orange. I arrived outside and threw my bike on the sidewalk outside her house. I ran up to her porch and noticed 3 brown helium balloons had been placed outside. I didn't know what I was feeling. I was confused and anxious, but kind of relieved at the same time. Finally, I'd be able to find out what was going on. I knocked on the door, and it opened. The lady's head poked out, and she greeted me with a grin, revealing a pattern of yellow and brown teeth. I winced and smiled back. So you found him?" I asked. She nodded, opened the door, and gestured me in. I reluctantly walked in, took my phone out, and made sure to always stay behind her so I wouldn't get attacked. I could easily overpower her, but I was still cautious. Her house was very dim. Small candles were placed all around, giving everything a weird yellow-orange tint. The walls were a gross yellow-brown, matching her teeth, and the dusty wooden floor creaked with every step I took. We arrived at a dark brown wooden door at the end of a hall, and a terrible odor filled my nose. She looked back at me, still maintaining her disgusting smile, and spoke. "He's in here. I found him by the dumpster. A silly boy he is. Ben is just a silly boy." She opened the door, and I was met with darkness. As my eyes adjusted, I could see a circular array of orange light, candles. Then I could make out flowers. Several bouquets littered the floor, and then I saw something in the middle of the circle. I stepped a little closer towards all of this. I knew it was a stupid idea in the moment, but my adrenaline got the best of me. I walked over to it, and the stench got even worse. Flies buzzed all around, and I turned my phone flashlight to see what was producing this awful odor. It was a piece of paper with Ben's face on it stapled to a raccoon. I know that because I reached down to pick the paper up, and it tore off, revealing the lifeless body of some poor, beaten raccoon. I won't get into all the details, but it didn't feel real. I turned around to see the silhouette of the lady. I couldn't see her eyes, but I knew she was staring at me. "Don't be rude," put Benjamin's face back on. I hesitantly placed the paper back over the raccoon's face, or what was left of it, and made my way to the door. "Are you leaving? You didn't even introduce yourself." I wrinkled my face, almost tearing up as I pushed my way past her. I ran toward the front door and slammed it open, not even taking time to close it. I ran to my bike and made my way home, making sure to never go back to that horrid place. I saw the lady as I left. She was standing on her porch, waving. I couldn't get that image out of my head. That smell either. It's like it's in my mouth. Just this disgusting, rancid smell. When I got home, I dialed 911 and told them everything. I told them about the house, her address, my address, and about the lady. They told me the police would be there soon, within the next 5 to 6 minutes. I got a knock on my door and opened it to find 2 officers on my porch. I escorted them in, and they questioned me about everything. I told them about the old lady, the dead raccoon. I showed them the posts, the Facebook account, and the pictures of Ben. I called my parents soon after, and they sounded worried sick over the phone. My mom was crying, and my dad was trying to keep her sane. They told me they were on their way home and would arrive in a few hours. It was so stupid of me to not have called them. It didn't even cross my mind once. Not with all of this going on. Another pair of cops arrived at my house about an hour after the first. They told me they had found what I described to the other officers: the raccoon, the candles, and the yellow walls. I'd overheard them talking to the other officers about dead animals in her fridge, mainly roadkill, but that didn't make it any more comforting. There was one thing they managed to keep from me until I asked about her. They didn't find a lady in the house. My head felt light, and I froze. She knew my address. She knows where I live. I told them about this, but there's nothing they can say or do that will make me feel safe. It would make me feel better to know that I will never see that old lady again. To know I'll never have to pass by that dirty orange house again. To have reassurance that I will never see that boy's twisted face again.